Good morning, friends. This is Dr. Charul Jain, and this is my friend Dr. Aarti Majumdar. We are from MS University, Baroda, and we come here to take a session for CC for you. The session we are taking today is on SWOT analysis. We can have a look at the slide, SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is an analysis tool which looks at strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. The objectives of this slide or the presentation are when we conduct a SWOT analysis, this helps us resolve conflicts and solve problems.
Charul, can you tell us what are the other, why should we use SWOT analysis for any other purpose?
Individually, SWOT analysis helps us to help relationships evolve. Sometimes we have certain problems, so we can solve the problems by resolving conflicts. And we can also plan our future when we conduct a SWOT analysis.
Okay. And if we go on, can you give us some example or what actually is SWOT analysis? How can we define SWOT analysis?
SWOT analysis actually is a strategic planning method which is used to evaluate the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And when we use the first letter of all these words, then we get SWOT, in short, SWOT, which is an acronym for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Okay. And then can you also tell us that how it can be done, on what levels it can be done?
Yes. Aarti, actually when we do SWOT analysis, we can do it at two levels. It can be done at the individual level and it can also be done at the organizational level. When we have a project or a business venture, then the SWOT analysis helps us to identify the strengths and weaknesses, and once we are able to identify these, we can work upon them for the betterment of the individual as well as the organization. The individual himself benefits if he conducts a SWOT analysis by getting to know what are the strengths and weaknesses and how he can or she can work upon them in future to improve them. And similarly, an organization also can benefit greatly, whether it is looking at a project or it is looking at a business venture. Both the things can be helped and worked upon and done better by doing a SWOT analysis.
Yeah, and individually also, is it possible to do a SWOT analysis as you said?
Yes.
So
the SWOT analysis, actually today we are going to focus primarily on the individual SWOT analysis. We would definitely look at how SWOT analysis can be done in an organization and how it can be helpful in an organization. But we are going to focus today on individual SWOT analysis, and that can be gradually built up into an organizational SWOT analysis.
So on an individual level, what is the use of this SWOT analysis? I think that is very important for us to think about it and talk about it.
Absolutely. SWOT analysis, actually let us first have a look at the matrix, SWOT analysis matrix. The SWOT analysis matrix plots on the left hand side the positives. The positives are the strengths and the opportunities. And on the right hand side, we plot the weaknesses and the threats. These are the negative aspects of our lives, whether they be individual lives or the organizational life.
Okay.
So we have a matrix on which we plot what is good, what is helpful, what is strong in us, and on the other side we plot what is harmful or what is not so good in us. This way we get a clear idea about what helps us and what we need to do to get help from the circumstances and from other factors.
So which also means that we understand our own selves, we understand what are our strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely.
And whatever are our negative points, in fact we can build up upon them and to overcome our negative points so that we can move forward in future.
That is absolutely very true, Aarti. As you said, SWOT analysis definitely gives us a clear perspective about ourselves. It is in a way a very objective analysis of ourselves. When we are looking at an individual, what is good in us, what is bad in us. So it's a kind of an introspection, if we may use the word, of an individual. But it is a very, not a subjective analysis, but an objective analysis, where we look not only on our good points, but we look at our bad points as well.
Yes. And I think we need to move a little further and talk about even the opportunities. What do strengths mean? What do opportunities mean, etc. So let's go ahead and think
one
about
more thing
it.
I would like to comment here is, any individual or an organization works in a society. So the individual himself or herself has certain things integral to the personality of the person, which are the internal forces, internal factors. But at the same time, there are certain circumstances which are external to the person, which are external to the organization also. So on the top of the matrix, we have the internal factors which influence us. So strengths and weaknesses are internal, are ingrained, inbuilt in the individual himself, whereas opportunities and threats, we look at the external factors, the external influences which shape up any individual or an organization. So this way, a comprehensive analysis is possible by looking inside as well as looking at the external shaping factors.
Right.
We move forward to the next slide, which talks about SWOT analysis, how SWOT analysis is helpful to achieve the objectives and how it is harmful to achieve the objectives.
Okay, so if we are looking at strengths, let's talk about strengths. Strengths first. So, what do we mean actually by strengths? The positive points within us, by which we can counter all the other problems that we have, or anything else?
Yes, definitely. What you said is very right. Strengths are basically what are the good things about us, what we are good at doing, or what what are the good things in our personality, and what we are advantageous things in our personality are called our strengths. And these are the attributes which help us attain our objectives. We have certain objectives in our life, maybe short-term objectives or long-term objectives. So these are the things in us which help us attain our objectives.
Which also means that we can build up on our strengths for our future careers, or for our future education, or whatever we want to achieve something in our lives. So we need to build up on our strengths. But at the same time, I think what is internal, as we said, the weaknesses are internal within ourselves. We need to look at those weaknesses as well. Because unless we overcome our weaknesses, we are not in a position to move forward. So just can you tell us something about the weaknesses that
you have made a very, very important point, because when we look at the perspective of the students, they are at a very crucial point in their lives. They are 20, 21 years of age, and they have to make decisions about their lives. They have to make decisions about their career and how they will shape their lives. So at this juncture, SWOT analysis becomes very important, because SWOT analysis not only helps them identify what is good in them, but also enables them to identify what is the shortcoming which they can build upon for helping their future. So if they have certain objectives in mind and they find that there are certain things they can work upon, they would be better able to handle their future, and they can shape their future according to the SWOT analysis by working on their strengths, strengthening the strengths, and helping overcome all the weaknesses.
Now, if we are looking at the opportunities, now let us look at the next point in SWOT analysis, and that is opportunities. We see that there are so many opportunities coming our way. So one has to pick and choose. But at the same time, we need to pick up those opportunities which will help us move forward, which would also depend upon the strengths that we have. So I personally feel that though the opportunities are plenty, we need to understand ourselves and then condition our mind to look at those opportunities where we can actually contribute towards our own future.
Yes.
So,
I agree.
Yeah. So, what do you feel about that?
Opportunities and threats both are external factors, and these are certain things which we have to understand. We might have an opportunity, for example, if I as a teacher has been, or I am invited somewhere to give a lecture, so that will be an opportunity for me to go and present a lecture. But then we have to see whether we are capable of doing such a kind of thing. We also have to see whether we can, what kind of preparations we have to make for making a presentation or a lecture. And we also have to look at what are our weaknesses. If we have certain weaknesses which will come in our way of becoming a successful lecturer, then we can evaluate them. So definitely what you said makes a lot of sense, because opportunities in isolation have not much meaning.
Right.
Our strengths and our weaknesses turn a possibility into an opportunity or a threat. Very rightly said, Aarti.
And I also feel that we need to keep our minds and ears open for
yes.
all the threats that we can see.
See,
Some may be external, which we can see, but some,
yes.
it just comes on us.
Yes.
So we also need to look at the environment and see where the threats come from, and try to work out a system within us by which we can counter those threats and move forward.
Move forward, absolutely. And threats are certain things which are inherent in the external environment which we have no control over.
Correct.
So there are certain things which we have to understand, take for granted, that these are the things which we cannot change. And we have to live with them.
Yes.
So we have, when we do a SWOT analysis, we are able to understand what are the things which we cannot change, and we have to live with them, and thereby we decide our future perspective and future prospects.
Right.
We move on to the next slide. In this slide, we talk about how we can do our own SWOT analysis.
Okay, now let us see. Let us take an example. Say first, let us identify what are the different traits within oneself.
Absolutely.
So,
yes.
Say for example, I would say that my strength is that I like to face challenges in life.
Yes.
So whatever be it, in terms of studies, in terms of any event that is taking place or anything. So I don't panic as such in any case. So what about you? So
I very much agree, Aarti. I think that is a very positive perspective that you take towards life. That is a very big strength in your character, that even though the circumstances may be adverse, we have to remain cool, calm, and try to tackle the situation. So I think that is a very big strength in your character, that you are ready to take up challenges and be positive about whatever comes your way.
But one also has to be careful that we can't be overconfident also.
Yes.
Because if we are overconfident and if we are impulsive in nature, then maybe, that same trait within you can be a threat as well to you.
Absolutely.
So we need to look at that.
When you mention this, I am reminded of the very thin line of difference between aggressiveness and assertiveness.
Yes.
When we say that being assertive is good, but being aggressive is not good, so we have to decide on ourselves and identify the situation when one particular reaction can be assertiveness, but slightly higher, more intense reaction can be aggressiveness. Yes. And when we talk about corporate communication, then these things become very important.
Because we need to have a control over ourselves, because
very true.
there are many other things which may hamper our
absolutely
movement.
Very true. So as we were looking at the slide, we have to first identify traits within ourselves. And these traits we have to match with the traits of others. Because we live in a society, we live in an environment, and we can look at others and learn from the mistakes of others, or we can learn from the successes of others and set role models for ourselves. So we have to synergize our traits with the traits of others and thereby evolve ourselves in the circumstances.
Yes, I think the others' weaknesses also help us in a particular way.
Yes.
We see that certain things we have thought to ourselves is right, but then we realize that the people do not perceive those things as right.
Right.
So we need to change ourselves,
Yes.
and then that's how I think
One
we
learns
evolve.
how we evolve. Yes.
As a person.
Absolutely.
So that is one thing.
Next important thing, according to SWOT analysis, is we might have certain traits, we might have certain characteristics or personality trends in us, but we should not let any trait dominate ourselves. We should not allow anybody to label us as he's very angry person, aggressive person. We have to strike a balance, and this SWOT analysis helps us strike a kind of balance by identifying what our traits are.
Right. Now let us look at the next point, and that is whether a particular trait dominating one's own style. Because as you rightly put it, that we may get labeled with it, that she is such or he is such. So we need not do it. But now we also need to think about that how we can use our own strengths, to build ourselves, build our future life,
Yes.
and then in fact move forward towards achieving our particular goal.
Absolutely.
Say for example, that if we are good at speaking, then maybe we could evolve a particular system within us, and so that oral communication becomes easy for the others. We can teach oral communication to the others,
Yes,
so that the others